Chosen one, before you wait for one more message, one more apology, one more explanation, or one more sign that someone finally understands what they lost, listen carefully. There is a confession that can change everything, but it may not begin in their mouth. It may begin in yours. It may begin the moment you look honestly at your own heart and say, I will no longer abandon myself just to keep a door open that another person refuses to walk through. I will no longer call confusion love. I will no longer call silence a promise. I will no longer turn another person's hesitation into a judgment against my worth. That confession can change everything, because for too long, you may have been waiting for someone else to give you permission to move forward. You may have been waiting for them to say, I see you. I am sorry. I was wrong. I should not have walked away. I should not have made you question yourself. I should have been honest. I should have protected what was precious between us. And perhaps there is a part of you that still hopes those words will come. That hope is not shameful. Wanting honesty is not weakness. Wanting to be treated with clarity is not desperation. You are human. You were created for love, for connection, for truth, and for relationships where your heart does not have to hide. But you must not build your future around a confession that may never be spoken. You must not hand your peace to a person who has not shown that they can carry it with care. Maybe they will speak one day. Maybe they will recognize what they could not see before. Maybe they will return with a sincere apology, with changed behavior, with humility, and with a willingness to repair what they damaged. God can bring conviction to any human heart. God can heal people who have run from love. God can restore what seemed impossible. But restoration is not something you force. It is not something you predict from a late-night thought. It is not something you prove by reading silence as destiny. Restoration, when it is real, comes with truth. It comes with responsibility. It comes with action. It comes with peace that can survive the daylight. And that is what this message is about. Not making you wait for a person who will not choose you. Not turning your loneliness into a prophecy. Not telling you that every name in your thoughts is a sign from heaven. This message is about helping you become free. Free enough to love without chasing. Free enough to hope without pretending. Free enough to forgive without reopening every door. Free enough to recognize that the person God is shaping you to become does not need to beg for basic honesty. The enemy would love to turn your waiting into self-abandonment. He would love to make you believe that love means accepting uncertainty forever. He would love to make you stare at your phone, replay old conversations, decode every social media post, and search for a hidden meaning in every silence. But God does not lead His children through obsession. He leads them through truth. And truth may be gentle, but it is never vague. Truth says, you can miss someone without making them your future. You can forgive someone without giving them access to your heart again. You can pray for someone without carrying the responsibility for their healing. You can be open to reconciliation without standing still in a place where you are not being loved well. You can trust God with your future without pretending to know what another person's heart will decide. This is the freedom you are being invited into. And perhaps you need to hear this before anything else. You are not behind because you are single. You are not forgotten because a relationship ended. You are not less valuable because someone could not recognize your value. You are not disqualified from love because you have been wounded, and you are not required to remain trapped in old pain. Just because the relationship once mattered to you, what happened mattered. Your memories are real. Your grief is real. The unanswered questions may still be real, but they do not have the authority to write the rest of your story. In The Weight of Glory, C.S. Lewis reflects on the deep human desire to be truly acknowledged, not merely noticed in a crowd, but known, recognized, loved without a mask. That desire is not shallow. You do not only want someone to sit across the table from you, you want to be seen. The part of you that became strong too early, the part that remained faithful when no one thanked you, and the part that still hopes for love after disappointment. But recognition begins with God. Psalm 139 reminds us that He knows your thoughts, your tears, and the questions you cannot explain to anyone. He does not see you as too late, too complicated, or too wounded. He sees you with truth, and His truth heals without shaming you. Before you ask, will they confess? Ask a deeper question. What has God been saying to my heart through this waiting season? Perhaps He has been saying, you are loved before anyone chooses you. You are safe before anyone explains themselves. You are valuable before anyone returns. This does not reject your desire for marriage, companionship, or reconciliation. It restores the right order. God first, truth second, then relationship. No human being can carry the weight of proving that you are enough. Love is a gift, but it cannot become your God. A mature heart can say, I want love, but I will not lose myself to keep it. I can hope for restoration, but I will not build my future around someone's silence. That is not coldness. It is the soil where healthy love can grow. Let this be your first declaration. I choose truth over chasing. Now let us talk about silence. Silence can make the mind create stories. One unanswered message can become a whole future. One memory can become a prophecy. But not every intense thought is an instruction from God. Not every name that comes to mind is a sign that you must return. Sometimes the ache is grief. Sometimes it is habit. Sometimes it is loneliness. In A Grief Observed, Lewis wrote honestly about the pain of searching for God when the heart is desperate. He did not tell wounded people to pretend that loss was easy. You are allowed to say, Lord, I do not understand why this has taken so long. I do not understand why I was left without answers. God can work through pain, but pain is still pain. Grief is still grief, and an honest prayer is more faithful than a false smile. But loneliness cannot become your prophet. Relief says, at last, someone is here. Recognition says, this person is safe enough for truth. Relief says, I do not have to be alone tonight. Recognition says, I do not have to become someone else to be loved by this person. Relief says, they finally texted me. Recognition says, their words and actions have become consistent over time. Relief says, the pain stopped for a moment. Recognition says, peace is growing without pressure, confusion, or fear. Those are not the same thing. And if you confuse them, you may mistake a temporary escape from loneliness for the beginning of a healthy relationship. The heart is especially vulnerable after a long season of waiting. You may tell yourself that you have learned your lesson. You may promise that you will never settle again. But then somebody arrives who speaks the language you have been longing to hear. They notice you. They say you are different. They tell you that they have never felt this way before. They appear at the moment when your defenses are low, and suddenly, all your careful thinking disappears. You start making excuses for what you would have questioned before. You start ignoring what your spirit knows. You tell yourself, nobody is perfect. Maybe I am asking for too much. Maybe I should not be so guarded. Maybe this is my chance. But there is a difference between mercy and self-betrayal. There is a difference between patience and denial. There is a difference between giving someone room to grow and making yourself responsible for their growth. A healthy relationship will not make you fear the truth. It will not train you to accept confusion as normal. It will not require you to lower your standards. Every time you ask for clarity, it will not punish you for saying, "I need time, I need honesty, I need consistency. I need to know whether your actions can carry the weight of your words." Love is not afraid of these questions. Manipulation is. A person who is sincere may not have every answer immediately. They may be nervous. They may be healing. They may need time to understand their own emotions. But a sincere person does not ask you to abandon your peace. While they decide whether to value you, they do not demand all your vulnerability, while offering only uncertainty in return. They do not expect the privileges of closeness without the responsibility of care. That is why the next section matters so much. If someone ever comes back with a confession, or if someone new enters your life with a strong declaration, you need to know what to look for. Not to become suspicious, but to become wise. A genuine confession has 5 qualities. If someone comes back with a confession, or if someone new enters your life with a strong declaration, do not become suspicious, become wise. A genuine confession has 4 qualities. First, it has clarity. It does not hide behind vague language that keeps you attached without giving you direction. Clarity says, "I know I hurt you. I know where I was inconsistent. I know what I want now. I am willing to let my actions prove what my words mean." Second, it has responsibility. A sincere person does not say, "I am sorry you felt that way." They can name what they did, understand its effect, and respect the fact that trust may need time to heal. Their apology does not demand immediate access to your heart. Third, it has consistency. Words can arrive in one night. Character is revealed over time. Tears may be real, but transformation is not measured by intensity. It is measured by whether they keep their word, communicate respectfully, honor boundaries, and stay truthful when life becomes ordinary. Fourth, it has mutuality. Love cannot be built on one person's labor. Both people must move toward honesty, repair, and care. You can initiate, forgive, and be vulnerable, but you cannot build a covenant alone. If you are the only one keeping the connection alive, you are not in a relationship. You are carrying a hope that has not yet become mutual choice. You do not need to chase someone to prove that you are worthy of care. Stop trying to make them show up. Notice whether they do. That is where peace begins. Not when someone finally says perfect words, but when you no longer need those words to know who you are. There is one more quality: respect. A person who loves you respects your no, your pace, your responsibilities, and your faith. Your heart is not an emergency room where someone may arrive when they feel lonely, receive comfort, and disappear again. Vulnerability is not carelessness. You can be kind without giving instant access to every room of your heart. Healthy love invites openness, but it does not demand surrender before trust has been built. Respect also means that a person does not use your loneliness as leverage. They do not pressure you to decide before you are ready. They do not make you feel guilty for asking questions. They do not call your boundaries rejection simply because they are disappointed. A relationship that is right for you can survive a thoughtful pace. It can survive an honest question. It can survive the day you say, "I need more time to see whether your actions match your words." The fourth quality is respect. A person who loves you should respect your no. They should respect your pace. They should respect your responsibilities. They should respect your faith. They should respect the fact that your heart is not an emergency room where they can arrive whenever they feel lonely, receive healing, and then disappear again. Your heart is not a place for another person to practice indecision. It is a sacred place. It deserves tenderness. It deserves honesty. It deserves the patience of someone who understands that love is not only about being wanted, it is about being cared for. In The Four Loves, Lewis writes about the risk of love. To love is to become vulnerable. There is no way around that. But vulnerability is not the same as carelessness. You can open your heart without handing someone the keys to every room on the first day. You can be kind without becoming unprotected. You can forgive without pretending that your boundaries are unnecessary. A healthy relationship invites openness. It does not demand surrender before trust has been built. The fifth quality is mutuality. A genuine relationship is not one person carrying all the emotional weight. It is not one person always starting the conversation, making the plans, repairing the misunderstandings, offering forgiveness, giving reassurance, and protecting the connection. You can initiate, you can pursue, you can be vulnerable, but love must become mutual. There must be movement from both sides. There must be effort from both sides. There must be truth from both sides. If you are the only one keeping the relationship alive, then you are not in a relationship. You are in a labor of hope. And hope is beautiful, but it cannot replace mutual choice. One person cannot build a covenant alone. One person cannot carry a shared future alone. One person cannot force another person to become ready. This is not a defeat. It is a release. It means you can stop asking, what else do I need to prove? What message do I need to send? How much longer do I need to wait? How much more understanding do I need to offer? You may need to do nothing more. You may need to let truth reveal itself. And truth often reveals itself when you stop chasing. When you stop chasing, you do not become passive. You become observant. You stop trying to make someone show up. You begin noticing whether they do. You stop explaining why you deserve care. You begin asking whether care is being freely offered. You stop trying to control the outcome. You begin listening for God in the present. That is where peace begins. Not in the moment someone finally says the perfect words. Now think about Ruth. The story of Ruth is not a promise that a perfect person will suddenly appear. It is a picture of faithful love with character. Ruth did not manipulate Boaz or make another person's attention the proof of her value. She worked. She cared for Naomi. She remained faithful in the field in front of her. And Boaz did not approach her with vague emotion. He acted with honor. He protected her dignity. He made his intentions clear through steady care. And he handled responsibility openly at the city gate. That is a better picture of what to pray for. Not someone who promises destiny but cannot keep an appointment. Not someone whose silence makes you feel spiritually special. Pray for a person whose life has fruit. Pray for someone who respects God, respects people, tells the truth when it is uncomfortable, and understands that trust takes time. And while you pray, remain in your field. Your field is the life God has placed before you now. Your work, your healing, your family, your church, your friendships, your health, your home, your mind, and your relationship with God. Being faithful in your field does not mean hiding from life. It means romance is not the only place where your life can begin. From that grounded place, you become more able to recognize healthy love when it arrives. Boaz also acted in the light. He involved the community and handled responsibility openly. Healthy love does not demand secrecy, urgency, or isolation. It can be tested by wise counsel, time, and truth. Ruth's story also shows that faithfulness is active. She did not become passive while she waited. She served, worked, and cared for the responsibilities that were already in her hands. This is not a command to ignore desire. It is an invitation to build a life that is full before another person enters it. When you are rooted in the life God has given you, you are less likely to call chaos destiny merely because it interrupts your loneliness. Because a person who is rooted in God does not need to call chaos destiny. They can notice the difference. They can say, this person is kind, but they are not ready. This person is attractive, but their character is not stable. This person says beautiful things, but their actions do not follow. This person has potential, but I am not called to sacrifice myself to their potential. This person may be part of my story, but not part of my future. That is not a hard heart. That is a wise heart. And wisdom protects tenderness. There is another danger after disappointment. Some people build a fortress around their heart and call it wisdom. They say, I will never let anyone close enough to hurt me again. But a wall that protects you from pain can also protect you from joy. Lewis warned that a heart shut away to avoid being hurt can become closed to love itself. That does not mean you should become careless. It means you must learn the difference between a boundary and a fortress. A boundary has a gate. A fortress has no entrance. A boundary says, I welcome people who show truth, respect, and consistency. A fortress says, no one will ever reach me again. A boundary says, trust must be earned over time. A fortress says, trust is impossible. You do not have to choose between a cold heart and a careless heart. God can build a secure heart, one that can grieve without becoming bitter, forgive without forgetting truth, and receive love without making love an idol. You also do not have to turn every past relationship into a villain story. Some relationships end because people are not ready. Some end because wounds are unhealed. Some end because the relationship cannot carry the truth it requires. You can say, it mattered, it hurt, it taught me something, and it is no longer where I live. You are allowed to bless someone from a distance, pray for them without waiting for them, and release the past without denying that it was real. Say it again if you need to. It mattered, it hurt, it taught me something, and it is no longer where I live. You are allowed to release the past without denying it. You are allowed to bless someone from a distance. You are allowed to pray for them without waiting for them. You are allowed to want good for them without making their decision the center of your life. That is one of the purest forms of love. Love does not always mean holding on. Sometimes love means letting God hold what you cannot. Now let us come back to the confession. What if the confession you have been waiting for is not an apology from them? What if it is an agreement between your heart and God's truth? What if it sounds like this? I confess that I've spent too long chasing clarity from someone who chose silence. I confess that I have mistaken emotional hunger for spiritual direction. I confess that I've treated another person's inconsistency as proof that I need to try harder. I confess that I have been afraid to let go because I did not know who I would be without this hope. I confess that I have wanted a human voice to say, "You are enough," when God has been saying it all along. And now I confess something new. I am willing to be healed. I am willing to become honest. I am willing to wait without abandoning myself. I am willing to open my heart only where truth can live. I am willing to receive love without chasing it. I am willing to trust God with what I cannot control. That is a confession that changes everything. It does not make you passive. It makes you free. It does not erase your desire for love. It purifies it. It does not promise that tomorrow will bring a message. It gives you the strength to live faithfully whether a message comes or not. And ironically, that is often the place where your heart becomes ready for healthy love. Because when you no longer need another person to rescue you from your own loneliness, you can finally see them more clearly. You can see who they are, not only who you hope they will become. You can love without turning the relationship into a survival plan. You can choose without fear. You can say yes without desperation. You can say no without guilt. You can receive an apology without immediately surrendering your boundaries. You can welcome someone new without forcing them to carry the weight of your past. That is emotional and spiritual maturity, and God values it. The person who is truly ready for a relationship will not be threatened by your maturity. They will not need you to be confused. They will not need you to be desperate. They will not need you to ignore your convictions. They will not become angry because you ask reasonable questions. They will not use your loneliness to get access to your heart. They will not make you feel as though asking for consistency is asking for too much. They will understand that love is a responsibility. They will know that affection is not enough. They will know that good intentions are not enough. They will know that trust must be built. And you will know that you do not have to lose your peace. To keep their attention, there are 4 questions you can carry with you. Ask them slowly. Ask them in prayer. Ask them before you give your heart back to anyone. The first question is, what is true right now? Not what was true 2 years ago. Not what you hope will be true someday. What is true right now? Are they communicating? Are they taking responsibility? Are they respecting you? Are they showing consistent care? Are they willing to have an honest conversation? Truth lives in the present. The second question is this mutual? Not, could it become mutual if I try harder? Not, do they sometimes make me feel special? Is it mutual now? Are both people moving toward honesty? Are both people willing to repair? Are both people carrying the weight of trust? Love cannot be built on one person's labor. The third question is, what fruit is this relationship producing in me? After I spend time with this person, do I become more peaceful, more honest, more patient, more grounded, more able to pray, more able to live according to my values? Or do I become anxious, obsessive, afraid, confused, ashamed, exhausted? The fruit does not tell you every detail about another person, but it gives you important information about what is happening in your heart. The fourth question is, can this relationship survive truth? Can I say what I need? Can I ask a difficult question? Can I express a boundary? Can I disagree without fearing that love will be withdrawn? Can I be honest without being punished? If the answer is consistently no, then the relationship may not be ready for the depth you desire. And that does not mean you have failed. It means truth has given you an answer. Sometimes the answer is not the one you wanted, but an honest answer is still a gift. Do not be afraid to seek wise counsel. A mature pastor, a trusted mentor, a counselor, or a spiritually grounded friend can help you see what your emotions cannot see alone. Do not isolate yourself with a major decision. Do not let a private fantasy become your only source of guidance. Healthy love does not fear the light. It can be discussed with people who are wise. It can be tested by time. It can be examined without falling apart. The more a relationship demands secrecy, urgency, and isolation, the more carefully you should slow down. God is not in a hurry to make you lose your discernment. He's patient. He is kind. His wisdom is pure, peaceable, gentle, open to reason, full of mercy, and sincere. That is how James describes wisdom from above. Notice that wisdom is not frantic. It is not pressured. It is not manipulative. It does not make you panic because you might miss your only chance. A relationship that is right for you will not require you to betray wisdom just to keep it alive. Now I want to speak to the person who is still hoping someone will return. I am not telling you to erase them from your heart tonight. God can restore what was lost, but place the outcome where it belongs, in God's hands. Pray this: Lord, if this relationship can be restored in truth, bring clarity, humility, healing, and mutual willingness. But if it cannot be restored in truth, give me courage to let it go without bitterness. Protect me from fantasy, fear, and the temptation to return to a pattern that harmed me simply because it is familiar. And if that person comes back, do not rush. Listen, pray, observe. Let time speak. Let actions speak. Let character speak. Trust is not rebuilt by one emotional speech. It is rebuilt by a new pattern. And if someone new enters your life, do not make them pay for another person's silence. Let friendship reveal character. Let peace grow. Let God remain at the center. Readiness is not knowing every outcome. Readiness is becoming the kind of person who can recognize truth when it arrives. Before we pray, place the name of the person you are waiting for into God's hands. Do not grip that name as a rope to pull the future toward you. Open your hands and say, Lord, I release this person to you. I release my need to control what they choose. I release the story I have written around their silence. If this relationship is meant to be restored, let it return through truth, responsibility, and peace. If it is not, let me walk away with peace. Do not let me settle for an imitation, because I am tired of waiting for wholeness. Teach me to live faithfully in the field you have given me. Father, I pray for the person listening now. You know the name they have carried quietly, the message they wanted to receive, and the apology they have rehearsed in their mind. Bring your truth into every place where they have blamed themselves. Remind them that their worth does not rise or fall with another person's ability to recognize them. Heal the wound that taught them to chase. Heal the wound that taught them to accept inconsistency. Give them calm discernment, gentle but firm boundaries, and courage to ask the questions they have been afraid to ask. Protect them from relationships that feed on confusion and from people who want access without responsibility. If someone needs to apologize, give that person courage to speak truthfully. If a relationship can be restored in a healthy way, let it be restored through honesty, mutual responsibility, and peace. But if it cannot carry truth, give your child grace to release it. Lead them toward relationships where they can be honest, where their boundaries are respected, and where their faith is strengthened. Teach them to love without fear, forgive without losing wisdom, and hope without becoming trapped. In Jesus' name, Amen. For the one who fears being alone, restore a deep awareness of your presence. For the one who feels ashamed of still hoping, replace shame with wisdom. For the one who is tempted to return to confusion, provide strength to wait for what is true. Let their future be shaped not by desperation, but by your faithful love. Give them people around them who can speak truth without controlling them. Give them friends and mentors who strengthen their faith, not their confusion. When they face a decision about love, lead them away from haste. Let peace, character, and mutual responsibility become clearer than fantasy. Remind them that you are not asking them to earn love by suffering for it. Chosen one, the confession that changes everything, may not appear on your phone tonight. It may rise quietly in your own heart. I will no longer chase what refuses to meet me in truth. I will no longer make silence my future. I will no longer abandon myself to keep a connection alive. I will let God heal what I cannot heal alone. I will let time reveal what words cannot prove. I will remain tender. I will remain wise. I will remain open to love. But I will not lose myself waiting for it. That is not the end of your love story. It may be the beginning of your freedom. And freedom is not loneliness. Freedom is the place where you stop begging for what God is teaching you to receive with dignity. Freedom is the place where you can recognize a healthy relationship because you no longer need chaos to feel chosen. Freedom is the place where you can welcome love without making love your savior. Stay close to God. Stay faithful in your field. Stay honest about what is true. And when love comes, whether through restoration or through a new beginning, let it meet you in the light. Let it meet you with clarity. Let it meet you with responsibility. Let it meet you with peace. And let it find a heart that has learned this sacred truth. I am already loved. I am already seen. I am already held by God. So I will not chase a confession. I will live in truth. And I will let truth lead me home.